Hi guys, Annette here. I'm back to show you that tortilla soup recipe that I'm going to make. It's pretty much a pretty easy throw together recipe. You can use all pantry items. Today I have a few fresh ones because I had them on hand, so I'm going to use them. But I will tell you what you would use if you did not have fresh on hand. This is pretty much like an open up a bunch of cans and dump recipe. So I'll go over the substitutions that you can do if you're doing this strictly from your pantry, no fresh or refrigerated items at all. This is just a tiny little bit of celery that I had left, a green pepper and some red pepper. If I didn't have this, I would just use a can of diced green chilies. They're really mild, and that's what I usually use in this recipe, but I had these, and so I wanted to get them used up so they didn't go bad. I had some fresh tomatoes. What I did is I got another one of those vegetable trays on markdown, and so that's where the red peppers came from, the green peppers from Gleaners. The little bit of celery was from the vegetable tray that I didn't eat fresh, and then the tomatoes are from the veggie tray. I don't like tomatoes raw, so I'm going to throw them in this recipe and cook them. They were grape tomatoes. I just cut them into quarters. I have one small fresh onion. If you didn't have fresh onion, you can just use dried minced onion. I'm also going to add some of this since that's a small onion. I don't have any fresh garlic at the moment, so I'm going to use these dehydrated garlic pieces. You're going to need taco seasoning mix, whatever you like to use. If you have a packet, use a packet. If you make up your own, use that too. Then I like it a little bit more tomatoey, so I add some of this tomato paste. You could use part of a can or a whole little can, or if I open one of those cans and I don't use the whole thing, a lot of times I freeze it in ice cube trays, so you could just use one ice cube of tomato paste if you have that in your freezer. I'm going to use this Pacific Organic Soup Starters Tortilla Soup Base. I really like it. You don't have to add this. You can just do broth and the seasonings. But I think that this tastes really good, and so I'm going to put that in. Sorry about kitties in the background. Whatever beans you like, I'm going to use this large can of pinto beans and then a can of kidney beans. I'm going to add some diced tomatoes. If I didn't have those fresh ones, I would add 2 cans this size or 1 big can, like more like this size can. And 1 can of sweet corn. It doesn't have to be white. It can be whatever corn you have on hand. Those are what I got from my gleaning program, so that's what I'm going to use. And then in a previous video I showed there's probably about 3 cups of chicken in there, so I'm going to use that chicken in this recipe. I also have some Southwest seasoning from Penzeys, and so I'm going to use that too. So I'm going to open up all of these cans, drain the corn, and drain and rinse the beans. I have seen some recipes where you just dump everything in and you use the liquid. I don't prefer to use the liquid from the beans, but if you so choose, you could do that. And in this pot over here, I have started, you can see a little bit of the fat has risen to the top. There's really not that much in there though. This is that chicken stock I made up. There's probably about 2 quarts of chicken stock in there, and if I hadn't have made this fresh, I showed you guys in the previous video that I made these jars here, I would just use 2 quarts of that chicken stock there. So this meal can be made completely from your pantry. Also, if I didn't have the cooked chicken already ready, you could make, cook up some chicken breasts if you needed to, or you can use home canned chicken, which I would do. I have home canned chicken always on my pantry shelf. Sorry about the cord in the way. I didn't charge my phone. So I'm going to get these things together and then I'll bring you guys back. Okay guys, I'm back. First thing I'm going to do is add the fresh ingredients. So I'm going to add the onion right in there. Make sure we get all the little pieces out. Okay, so we got that in there. I'm going to add the peppers and the tiny little bit of celery. And like I said, if I didn't have the fresh peppers, I would be adding the can of diced green chilies. They're also a mild pepper. The bell peppers are a little sweeter, but they're still mild peppers. Oops, excuse me. I'm gonna add the tomatoes. So those are just gonna go right in there so they don't go to waste. If I didn't cook them, I wouldn't be eating them. And where did my spoon go? I don't know, so we'll get a new one. So I'm just gonna get those started. I have this on kind of medium-high heat. I'm gonna let it come to a boil. Get those veggies cooked down a little bit. I'm also going to add the soup starter. So we'll add that. If you didn't have the soup starter, make sure you add another quart of broth. This soup, you need about 3 quarts of broth or 3 quarts of liquid, whatever you choose to use. This soup starter has like tomato, pepper, onion, garlic, I think a little lime. And it's nice because the Pacific brand is organic, which is not nice. So homemade bone broth and organic soup starter. Good way to start the base of this soup. I like to serve this soup with shredded cheese and sour cream and tortilla chips. You can use tortilla pieces or you can make your own tortilla chips. You can use like tostada shells or hard taco shells that you didn't use, like leftover ones if you had taco night the other night. You can also make this with ground beef instead and make like a taco soup. I think that taco soup and tortilla soup are pretty much the same thing, but one uses ground beef and one uses chicken. So I'm gonna bring that up to a simmer and I'll bring you guys back in just a moment and show you the seasonings. I'm gonna actually go ahead and add some of this dehydrated garlic so it can start rehydrating as well. So I'm just going to shake a good amount of those in, and those will rehydrate into little garlic pieces in the soup, and they'll give the soup really good flavor. So when I'm ready to put the other seasonings in, and the beans and the chicken and the tomatoes, I'll bring you guys back. Okay guys, so my soup base is simmering away there now, as you can see. All of those veggies are starting to cook down a little bit. And they're cut up pretty small, so they'll cook down pretty easily. There's nothing very hard in there, no carrots or anything that take a long time to cook. I rinsed and drained my kidney beans, so I'm going to add those. And this is where you just dump it all in there. Here's the seasoning mix. There's about a tablespoon of the taco seasoning, about a tablespoon of the Southwest seasoning. There is a pinch of crushed red pepper and about a tablespoon of dried cilantro leaves. So I'm just going to shake that right in there. Here are the pinto beans, rinsed and drained. Add all of those in. The can of diced tomatoes, and these ones had like garlic and herb and stuff in them. I think some oregano. Oregano also goes well in Mexican food, so I'm not worried about there being a little seasoning to these tomatoes. Put those right in there. Try not to splash it on yourself. It's hot, or the camera. I'm going to add in this can of corn. And I just drained that corn. It didn't need to be rinsed. I just drained it. Okay. And the chicken. Like I said, I think there's probably about 3 cups of chicken here. And I'm just going to add that all in. All in there. Give it a good stir. You can see the pot's quite full now. I'm going to let this simmer for a while, probably about a half an hour. Not too long. It doesn't take too long. It's a pretty easy soup. Like the chicken, the beans, everything are already cooked. The only vegetables that weren't cooked were those few fresh ones that I put in, and none of those take very long to cook down. So half an hour should be more than plenty of time to let all the flavors meld here. When it comes back up to a simmer, I'm going to taste it for seasoning and see if it needs any more salt. My broth that I made homemade, I did not add any salt to it, so it was very low sodium, just maybe what was ever used during the cooking, like the roasting of the chicken. But the soup starter, I think, has some salt in it. It's not too salty. And then the seasoning mixes, the Southwest mix and the taco mix, both have salt in them. So I'm going to taste it before I add any more salt to it. But if it needs salt, I will add some. Like I said, you can make this dish with ground beef and make taco soup. You can also make this dish vegetarian very easily by, oh, I almost dropped the camera, by putting in vegetable broth instead of the chicken stock. And using maybe more beans or another variety of beans. Like sometimes I put black beans in here. Black beans are actually super good in here. I just didn't want to rummage through the pantry to try and find a can. I'm sure I have one up there, but the pinto and the kidney were right there, so that's what I grabbed. You know, you don't have to serve it with the sour cream and the cheese if you don't like. If you're vegan, if you're just vegetarian and you do eat dairy, you can add the sour cream and the cheese. It's really versatile, really easy. You can subtract stuff, you can add stuff. If you want more vegetables, put more vegetables in. If you don't have a certain vegetable or you don't like say you don't like bell peppers, don't put them in. It's very forgiving and very easy to make. So after this simmers, I'll let it come back up to temperature, and after it simmers for about a half an hour, I'll bring you guys back to show you how I'm going to serve it up for dinner tonight. Okay guys, so the soup has simmered for about a half an hour. Looks really good. I did have to add a little bit of salt to it. Just so you know, I added probably about a half a teaspoon of salt to mine. I added a little bit more garlic powder, and I didn't show you before, but I did add the dried minced onions before it started simmering, and about a tablespoon of the tomato paste. Between the fresh tomatoes, the canned tomatoes, and the soup starter, it had a pretty decent tomato flavor, but I added about a tablespoon of that tomato paste just to boost the flavor of the tomato a little bit. So it's all finished, it's ready to be served, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. Just one second. There we go. I have some Juanita's tortilla chips, the bottom of a bag here, so I'm going to add some of those to my bowl here. This soup is perfect for when you just have like the ends of tortilla chips, because it doesn't matter if they're all crushed up or not. Add a few more. There we go. I'm going to add my soup. Try not to make a giant mess. Add some of the broth. Tortilla chips just help soak up all of that really delicious broth and help thicken up your soup a little bit. There's that. I'm going to add some of this Kirkland Mexican blend shredded cheese that I had in the fridge. So I'll just top that with some cheese. That'll melt down into the soup and be really delicious as well. And then a dollop of Daisy sour cream. I love this container that it comes in now. It's a little like squeeze bottle. So you don't get any spoon or anything dirty. You just pop the lid and you can squeeze on some sour cream. So that is my bowl of dinner tonight. I'm going to enjoy that very much. I did obviously make a mess on the counter. Kitchen's already messy from canning and everything anyway, so big cleanup tonight. But first I'm gonna go and have some dinner. So I hope you guys like this recipe. Like I said, it's really forgiving. You can kind of do what you want with it. And as far as the pantry meal challenge goes, I challenge any of my subscribers to make a video. If you do, make sure to let me know, and I'll also give your channel a shout out on my channel just for fun, and I'll direct everyone to go watch your pantry meal video. And the one person I do want to challenge is Pamela at Wiki Pamela. She, I believe, is a vegan, so I think it'll be interesting to see a vegan pantry meal. I am not vegan, obviously. It's not something that I choose for myself, but I do think it's interesting to see those meals sometimes. So, Wiki Pamela, I challenge you to do a pantry meal on film and to show all of your subscribers. And if you want to, you can challenge your subscribers or 2 YouTubers that you know. So, like I said before, I hope you guys like this video, comment, subscribe, enjoy, and until next time, I'll see ya. Bye.